Good evening and welcome to Monday night. This is Gravel Trap Legends BMW M1. Trust me, I'm a pro. This is round 6 at Donington. Good evening, you with Tim Lawson, and with me this evening is Neil Haynes. Good evening, Neil.
Good evening, Tim, and welcome everyone to our final round here for Gravel Trap Legends. And I'll tell you what, this Donington Park National Lates should be a great fitting way to see these cars out, Tim.
It's going to be an absolute cracker. We've just seen a little bit of rainfall during qualifying. We'll switch over shortly, but the track is drying out now. The guys will get a premium lap in for qualifying before we're expecting further rain for race 1. So it's a double sprint tonight, two 20-minute races. But before we get to this evening and find out where we are, let's take a quick look at what's coming up for anyone who is interested in joining. So this is round 6. This is the final round for the M1 Pro Trust Me, I'm a Pro series. So we have a couple of special events coming up in the next few weeks while we have a bit of a rest before our next series. So next Monday night we'll have the Grand Prix Classic, which is the Monza 1971 Formula cars. And then the following week, after we receive the Automobilista 2 update, we'll have access to the 1983 Bathurst track, and that will be the Porsche Cup. And then that will take us through into our next series, which will be the Americana GT4 Road Series, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And you can see the calendar up there for anyone who wants to check out the dates. You can get in touch with us either putting us a ping up tonight. I'll put you a link to the Discord, or look up Gravel Trap Legends on Discord. And also later we'll upload this to YouTube, and I'll put the links to the Discord in that as well for anyone who is interested in getting involved in the action. But let's get back to where we are now. There has been 2 competitions running this series. We've had the Targa series, which is the total combination of qualifying times, and DJM has a comfortable lead on first position, but we're a double sprint here. Brett and DDF with only 4/10 of a second between each other. With 2 qualifyings this evening, that could split the whiskers between who takes out second and third. And also looking down the table, 5th and 6th are also quite close together. It could be a challenge, but the interesting thing is, Neil, as we change over to take a look at the leaderboard, the winner of the Targa cannot be the winner of the championship. So that does throw a bit of a mix into the Targa this evening. But quick look at the leaderboard. Darren has a 4-point lead over Brett. Brett has had a commanding race last week and took the clean sweep. It was between Darren, Brett and DDF. DDF running third and 10 points behind, and DDF has had the race stitched up 2 rounds in a row, and both rounds he has had issues in his pit stop. There are no pit stops this evening, Neil. 2 20-minute sprints from go to woe. It's going to be on.
Yes, it sure is. And just looking at the end of qualifying, going to about 11 minutes remaining. The rain, it looks like there's some wipers on, so maybe the rain is starting to return again, Tim. So there have been some hot paces. The track dries out. It's turn 1, just a little bit of spray. But I tell you what, the cars really need to get out on the track now, because I think on our screens, on our monitors, we can definitely start seeing those raindrops fall in again. And currently DJM has got that pole by half a second over Brett, and then Cuckoo not too far behind. So, you know, those guys are actually out on track as we speak. And here comes Cuckoo to obviously probably get his last lap, that he may see this track dry, Tim. So, and he's got some traffic that have just come out, wrong time. Hopefully that doesn't cost him too much. That first bit of the corner has obviously slowed him down a lot, so this time you wouldn't think be any better, but hopefully he may get a little run after he gets through max power here now. No, it looks like he's aborting his run, Tim, so that's unfortunate for Cuckoo.
It's still 10 minutes to go. The showers have been rolling through, so there is still chance for the track to dry up if this rain clears in the next 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, I think we may be out of luck here. Just seems to be getting a little bit harder here up the top end of the circuit as we go through McLean's corner. On board with watching Max Power at this stage in the Scooby Snacks mystery wagon. Obviously this is a shorter layout, as you can see. It's not the GP version. We just cut through the S's here back onto the Wheatcroft Straight, the starting straight. And what was the lap distance roughly around here in kilometres? Tim, did you have that up? I didn't actually quite see that,
sorry, I didn't slide into that screen. Give me 2 seconds. I do have a copy of the track map here. And Donington is 3.149 kilometres long of old school 1.95 miles.
Yeah, so a nice comfortable little circuit. It's always good to do laps around here to set up cars as well with the undulations and the sweeping corners, and obviously you've got that switch back through the S's before you finish your lap. So it's definitely a good track to try and get some setups done on a car with only a 1 minute 10, 1 minute 12 depending on the car you're driving. Nothing worse than having a 2 minute type lap around a track trying to set up a car. These cars are short and sharp around here. As Max finding it hard with the little slick conditions that's starting to happen. It doesn't look like too many cars are better in their times at this stage. As we said, 2 qualifying sessions, so this is the first of the 2. And so the guys will have a little bit of an extra incentive to try and do well for the last time shot at the target that Tim was mentioning earlier. It definitely looks a lot stronger there. You can hear it on our commentary booth actually, Tim, at the moment. The rain coming down. As you can see also, I think that was Travis Moan up in the sand trap out of turn 1 at Redgate. Tricky corner, isn't it, Tim? Most cars through Redgate trying to not outbrake yourself into the first corner.
Even in the dry weather, that is one of the multiple corners on this track which are complicated, not only by the change in camber, which on this track tends to roll away from the apex, allowing the car to drift out, but also they tend to tighten up, especially up through here as we come up through McLean. And then we're coming up to Coppais, turn 8, which is a blind right-hander. Actually, you start turning in for it before you can actually see it coming up that hill.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a bit of a feel sort of turning point. You'd have got some references out off the circuit that you can use, but it can get a little bit tough. But yeah, you normally get a little... I feel that it is a bit more of a flow into that corner, to tell you the truth, Tim. You can almost say you close your eyes and turn in, but yeah.
It's a bit like coming down the mountain at Bathurst. Just hold your breath and pray.
Pretty much, yeah. It's definitely like that for sure. You can just see this turn 1 is just killing their times. There's that big bit of puddle that was just off the screen there. It's right on the apex pretty much. And as we said, Redgate's hard enough in the dry, let alone with a puddle on the apex.
And I think
isn't it great seeing these cars sideways through some of these corners? We may just see if we can just get in the cockpit here of Gunner. You can just see this wheel work that he's got going on.
Yes, the guys are definitely going to be working for their mustard tonight, that is for sure.
Yeah, and you can just see that evidence of the horsepower. They've beaten just over 9,000 RPM to get the most out of their horsepower. And obviously on this slick track with big, fat, wet tyres, it's not helping too much. But I don't think the wet tyres back in the day, Tim, in 79, really had the technology like they do these days.
It would have been an absolute nightmare, to tell the truth, Neil. But
yeah.
we actually spoke about the horsepower last week, and someone asked me how these have so much more horsepower than the touring cars here in Australia had in the day. To tell you the truth, when the BMW M1 was released as a road car, it was comparative to the A9X Tirana or the XD for Dick Johnson, the XD Falcon. The difference is the Australian touring cars were production cars. They had to be raced as they came off the production line. The BMW M1 Pro was actually tuned particularly for racing. That's how it went from 270 horsepower up to 470 in racing trim.
Yeah, it's just crazy, those numbers there, Tim. But I've just realised I didn't have the standings up there for the viewers, so obviously that should be up there on the left-hand side so you can see where your drivers are. So obviously we're looking at DJM at the moment. Darren absolutely killing it. Obviously got a nice lap in early when it was dry, with Brett in second, Cuckoo in third, DDF in fourth position. Now, where's he in the championship, Tim? I think he was around third, is he?
DDF is 10 points behind in third position.
Yeah, right. So he's not too far away from DJM. And also then Gunner, he loves the wet, so he's up in fifth position. And then the Bloody Nine in sixth, who's another wet weather specialist. Brad Luck in the mellow yellow Days of Thunder livery, all crunched up. Obviously his car wouldn't be like that for himself, it's just the graphics on screen from the game. Esky Man in 8th position, Mark doing a good job in 9th, as is Kiz Intense Stews in his normal position of around about 11th, so that's good to see. Travis Moan, as he's just come out of the pit lane, in 12th, and there's probably more of a reckonance of the track, I think, just get a feel, because as we said, the race does seem like it's going to maybe be a wet track, so it's worthwhile the drivers being out just to get a feel, knowing that they're not going to get a better time at this stage, but obviously get prepared for this race start that's only 3 minutes away. As we can see, Dino's been in the pits as well. He hasn't set a time, so hopefully this Dino's had some practice in the wet, because it could be a real shock for him if he hasn't been out there yet.
There were a few drivers that did get into the lobby late. Now, DDF on time trial is actually the fastest car on track, but due to setting up his own stream and getting himself organised for this evening, he did not get into the lobby until the rain had actually started falling. Lloydie's jumped on, said g'day, and yep, he's making the comment, Brad Luck's car looks like it's seen better days. Absolutely, Lloydie, but it is only a graphic. It's the physics of the game. He's been in the pits and had it repaired, but it was early damage. It will be not affecting the handling of the car at this current time.
Yeah, and the Colonel Lloyd, we know about how good he can. He was very fast in the GT1 series. He got in early on in the series at Watkins Glen, probably one of his favourite tracks. And he did some stuff with Gravel Truck Legends early on, but we haven't seen him, Tim. So maybe he may be interested in some of these one-off special events that we mentioned earlier, which is obviously the old Formula 1 cars next Monday, I believe, and then the following Monday might interest him is the historic Bathurst track.
The Porsche Cup.
The Porsche Cup, but you know, you'd have to really pull his arm, I think, because Bathurst is not usually the Lloyd's Colonel's actually favourite track. So, but the older version may just suit the Colonel. We never know.
For anyone who remembers the race, the Bathurst race itself in 1983, I believe that was the year Dickie Johnson threw the Falcon off the side of the road coming out of the elbow.
Yeah, and if that is the year, I'm not 100% sure if it was there or 82, but it's pretty much close there. And I believe that, I think you're the historian there, Tim, and I believe that, as they're all having a good slide, trying to get things going. But could imagine how many people in the game may try and reenact that, Tim, once this version comes out. I wonder if there's that opening so they can put it into the trees there.
And the horror moment is, be thankful it was coming down out of the elbow and not somewhere higher up over the mountain. Remember the early days, there wasn't that many guardrails around Mount Panorama.
Not at all.
And it also, the 1983 version does not have the chase in it. It is one long drag right down Conrod.
That's right. That's the they talk about the third hump or the second hump, don't they? In the old days. So they usually talk about that as part of where they're going to start braking, pretty much when they go over the hump. So if they count to 1, 2, 3, and then hit the brakes. I've heard it on the in-car commentary and some old footage.
And
So it's a bit of an anticlimax, Tim, at this qualifying session with this rain that came in. But anyway, I'll tell you what, I think we'll get excited very shortly for this 20-minute race. No mandatory pit stop either, so these guys are going to be flat out on track. But if it does get wet, question is, when will they actually go to pit for these not very efficient wet tyres? There was chat, I believe, through some of the drivers saying that the wet tyres can actually handle quite a little bit of that wet track, but once that spray starts coming out, you need to try and think about getting on those wets.
yeah, so once we look at the track now where there's a little bit of standing water, the slicks are still faster and more comfortable than the wet tracks. But as we see the end of qualifying, we've still got 2 cars running around on track, but we think DJM is comfortably up in first position. And how's the rest of them look for us, Neil?
Yeah, well, Brett, as we said, he's held on second all the time, half a second behind DJM all the way. Cuckoo as well, 0.8 of a second behind. And then we also had Gunner within a second, so that's very good to see. That's pretty challenging in the wet. Then the bloody 9, you could almost say 1.5 seconds off the pace there in the wet, but doing a good job with Brad Luck just beside him. Esky Man in 8th, Mark in 9th, Kiz in 10th, Stu still in 11th, and we may just get those timings up while they get ready on the grid. Travis Moan in 12th, G-Dude in 13th, Max Power in 14th, but Dino, that's a question. As we said, he didn't get any sort of familiarisation in the wet around this track, so I don't even know how he goes around Donington, Tim. I really haven't raced Dino around here, so he's going to be a guy to actually watch, I reckon, in this 20-minute race.
He could be praying for a reverse grid in race 2, that's all I'm saying. But unfortunately, there is another qualifying session after this. We have 2 20-minute sprints this evening, so this is the first. There will be a short 10-minute qualifying between the 2 races, as the guys will just be going through their setups, checking everything to ensure that they have a pit stop ready for change of tyres.
And name that car. Chitty chitty bang bang.
I know, that did take us a while to work out. We had a multiple of myriad options for what the livery on that car was before we found it out.
Yeah, it definitely comes up very good with that chrome at the front too. This is still my favourite car of the series. I absolutely love this one of Max Powers.
And we are going to grab Max probably between race 1 and race 2 and have a quick chat to him. He's been the absolute champion of the series. We have to also note he is 13th on the point table, but in the shakedown on Wednesday nights, he actually finished 6th.
Yes, that's right, he did. He absolutely killed it in the shakedown. So here we go, we've got the start of this race.
And the guys are off and racing. DJM's got a fantastic start. He has a clean run all the way up into turn 1. And we have a dry start. That surprises everybody. We did expect some light showers. Everyone looks like they're having a little bit of respect here, giving each other racing room. Clean run through turns 1 and 2, coming down into Crane's curves.
The bollard goes flying up into the sky there. Lucky there was no drone hanging around the skies trying to get a view up there. Might have taken our drone out. DDF working the back of Brett early on as DJM has just done his normal thing and clicked his heels and off he goes. But lap 1.
It's a long way, Neil, and we are expecting showers.
Yeah, that's it. And I just realised there you might just see the bullet holes near the driver there of DDF. So I have not noticed that after 6 rounds. It's only come to me to see there's those little bullet holes right next to his driver door.
And Viper joined us in the chat. G'day, Viper. Hope you're having a great night, mate. Thanks for coming along.
As Brad Luck's looking on the outside of the bloody 9. This is going to be tough coming into Redgate. But you can see the drivers. Oh, is DDF having a massive moment here at Redgate. Hopefully the field can get through, which they have. Nice recovery from DDF. He's dropped down now into 9th, but also under the challenge from Mark. And it's a pack behind here with Travis Moan and G-Dude. trying to follow Stu as well at the same time. But back up front, we've obviously got DJM cleared out front, but this is the battle going on just behind. Actually, I've just picked up here with Gunner and the Bloody Nine and Brad Luck, and then Esky Man coming in as well for a little bit of fun. And not too far is Kiz.
And these are some of the battles that we've seen every round, Neil.
Oh yeah, definitely. And haven't we enjoyed the battles between the likes of Cuckoo, Esky Man, Kiz? It's just been amazing.
Dino's been in the mix too.
Oh,
it's
big
been
move.
absolutely outstanding driving by these guys. They leave nothing on the table.
Esky Man finds himself in a difficult position here into turn 1, trying to challenge the Bloody Nine, but then has Bradluck on the inside.
And we've got a new chatter at the moment. Yes, I believe Monza 10K with the Formula Vintage G2 is actually up next. Yes, so next Monday is a one-off special round, and you are correct in that. Brack Juddum, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, I'm a little bit excited. I love my historic Formula 1 cars, Tim. I just love the nostalgia that they bring, and in the game and the challenge as well, and gets you to really respect how the pioneers actually manhandled those cars back in the day as well for the World Championship. It's just amazing.
Yeah, they were certainly adrenaline junkies back in the day. It would have been a wild time driving those cars.
And these guys have been having a battle throughout the season too. I wouldn't think that they'd be too far but apart in the championship, both Mark and Stu. They have been running fairly close majority of the season.
Let me pop over to my other screen and have a quick look at the leaderboard. And there is 9 points between Mark and Stu, and Brad Luck sits in the middle.
Yeah, so Brad Luck obviously at the moment in the mellow yellow car, absolutely enjoying in P6. So he's obviously looking to jump all those guys if he can, be in the middle and see if he can leapfrog Mark. At the moment he's doing the right thing, and double points I remember you saying too, Tim. So there's a lot to play for.
It is a big bucket load of points this evening with the two 20-minute sprint races, but as we can see, the rain is just starting to fall now, Neil.
It is too. No, and look at this, nearly 3 wide coming into the S's. Is Esky going to have a little look?
Oh,
when Brad Lux finds himself in the sand, but he can get out of there just. That was a big move by this man, Esky Man, but also looks like DDF now. On his recovery drive, this is where he just got it a little bit wrong, pinched a rear brake on the second lap.
And getting out wide into those marbles coming into turn 1 is not where you want to be.
Oh, most definitely, yeah. That's sort of, you know, really hope for the best there when that happens, as Dino's making those moves. We told him from 15th into 9th already. So let's keep an eye on this man. Oh, as Stu has a big slide moment, and Brad Luck. Oh, no! And he's had a little collection with Mark, as Mark had nowhere to go. But Brad Luck was actually doing his part to avoid this man, Stu, that was sideways down into the old hairpin.
Should remind these guys, it is not a drift competition.
Well, I'll tell you what, Stu's having a little bit of trouble here with this. Look at the rain at the top end of the circuit, Tim. This is probably why he finds himself out here. So will these drivers take the opportunity to pit yet? No, they're staying out by the looks of things. So word hasn't got through of how wet it is up the top end of the circuit.
But the guys were chatting earlier in the week with some testing, and they did advise that the slick tyres, even on a damp track, were still better than the wet tyres. The wet tyres were atrocious, and they were going to wait for standing water to start collecting across the track before they made the commitment to change tyres.
Talking about commitment, Look at this man, way out. I was going to say, if he tries to hang it around the outside, he's a braver man than anyone else in that grid. But look at the damage that he's done now, way out there. And look, he's going to be under the pros now. Kiz. So big moment for DDF. It's not really going his way, but he didn't lose too much time. Maybe the officials may look at that later, because he didn't look like he was too much off the throttle. Straight lining up the top end of the grass there, but I'd say he did slow him down. But there's some water coming off those tyres now on our screen.
Yeah, as you can see, as they come down the back straight through Starkey Straight, there is quite a bit of stream coming up off those slick tyres. And for anyone who wants to see the action from inside the car, DDF is streaming this evening. You can catch him on YouTube on DDF Racer. He streams all of his events live.
Yeah, it's worth having a look at his stuff, because he's got some very good footage coming his way, and the different cams, and you see him with his little VR little eyes poking out at you.
And it would probably be some impressive footage there as he went off last track, just watching him go flying straight through the corner.
May see some language that may not be good for under 18s either. So there you go. So it looks like that he's still moving his way up. It hasn't phased him. He's still in 5th as Gunner puts himself into 3rd with all the shenanigans that's been going on. And it looks like Brett, we'll have to keep an eye. Brett's within a second of DJM still, so we'll have to just keep a look at these timings, as it looks like he's under attack from Dino as he's making his move up from the back of the grid. Lights are blazing too, so you might have that as actually just an extra way to try and slow these cars up with on a slick track coming into the S's. Could be a good little advantage there.
Yes, and Lloydie's asked if they're going to put on wets. As we can see, Lloydie, there's no standing water on the track yet, and the guys said in early practice that the slicks were still better than the wets.
Yeah, and it's on and off. It's just passing showers. Oh no!
Oh,
big moment from Cuckoo.
Oh, that's hard. That's big damage.
Now, how much more can that cop that car? It looks like he's going to be in the garage, but I was just going to say the passing showers, you can see the cloud formation on the track, and the sun's out again, so it's the passing little storm clouds that are coming through that's causing a little bit of grief at the moment for the drivers, but not really for Brett. He's loving these conditions. He's really competitive on the back of DJM at this moment.
Well, Brett was our winner from last week, and there is only 3 points between Brett and DJM in the points.
Yeah, you'd think if Brett can actually win this race, he'd probably take the lead of the championship with the double points on offer. And then that'll come right down to the final race. It'll basically come down who wins the final race. So it's really important, I guess, that Brett takes victory here in this race. So it's do or die really for him. He's got 10 minutes remaining.
But
and
Neil,
he's been catching.
We can see that the weather is drying up. So this track will dry out fairly quickly. And we saw early pace with DJM on a dry track. That could be all he needs to get his margin back over Brett.
Yeah, well, Cuckoo's in the pit, so he's going to drop right back down with that damage repair. You'd think that he'll come out last at the back of the field here. He's still stationary there in pit lane. We've got Max Power just coming up. You can just see in the screen there, he's hitting the S's now as these guys hit their brake markers for those S's. And on the map, you can still see Cuckoo in pit lane stationary. Let's enjoy a lap, Tim. you go, a lap around, and it looks like Brett has, we've actually seen him come into the back of DJM even further, so he's very much in contention to start putting DJM under a lot of pressure where he may make a mistake.
And I was just seeing some more rainfall there, Neil. Is that what we're seeing on the screen now? We could be seeing the track dampen up yet again.
Here comes one of those little sun showers again, but those drops are fairly thick too, so it's not just a little sprinkling of shower. They're pretty heavy drops on the top of our commentary booth as well. So, but yeah, it's only a few drops at the moment.
We can see DJM had the windscreen wiper on, so it's more than a light sprinkle. And
as G-Dude now under attack from Travis Moan, and he's having a look down the inside here at Redgate. Nice respectable driving to them both, because a bit slick there, so G-Dude had to actually give Travis a little bit of room, and that's now opened up an opportunity for the Stu to try and get onto the back of G-Dude.
And Brack Jadams jumped in and said damp equals dry, and they're now hearing that through the chat in the race.
Okay. I tell you what, they're braver men than us, but that's why it's, you know, trust me, I'm a pro. The pro drivers are out here on Monday night and absolutely doing a great job and entertaining everyone as they watch this battle. With Gunner still holding on to this third position, and Esky, man, I tell you what, Gunner's had everything thrown at him and he hasn't faltered yet, but tell you what, DDF's going to have probably his sixth go at trying to get third position very shortly.
But as we've seen this series, Gunner and Esky have been in some monumental battles. I remember back to Interlagos. They were at it for probably 10 or 15 laps, and I think it came down to the last corner, where Esky got the better of Gunner and managed to come through in fourth position, I believe.
Yeah, so it was a sensational run, that one. There's been some spectacular footage that we've seen throughout this series, and I tell you what, these cars definitely bring that added excitement. Oh, as Esky's into the pits. More than in the pits, he's everywhere. Wow.
I am thinking that was not intentional.
I think that's a I think he's a disconnection. So DDF has got himself in a fourth very easy, but wasn't that some viewing there? Even a little bit of a glitch in the game with his connection probably going kaput. Definitely had our hearts going there, and I'm thinking, geez, he's going to kill everyone in pit lane.
Okay, also another thing to note here, Neil, pit lane speed limit is 140 kilometres an hour to replicate what was the standard back in 1979 when the BMW M-Pros raced. So,
yeah, well, I think he went in faster than that, but yeah, he definitely had it everywhere there. So I don't even say, yeah, he's off the screens now, so obviously a disconnection there, Tim, unfortunately. For Cuckoo, who's been out... Oh, not Cuckoo. Who was it talking about? Sorry. I had a mental blank there. Esky Man, was it? Esky Man it was?
Yep.
Yeah. We're talking about his big battles with Gunner.
But in all that, we've actually missed. Brett has maintained his position behind DJM, and they are 2 points between them in the leaderboard. And DDF will now have the battle to try and sneak his way up into third position as we just see Travis go off.
Yeah, that was a bit slippery going up through the McLean's corner there. And as you can see, that water spray with a puddle running down through Caprice. Or Caprice, is it? I'm not too sure of how it's pronounced, that corner. So there's definitely no R in it, so it's not Caprice.
No, Caprice, I believe you are correct.
Caprice.
And just under 4 minutes to go now. The rain continues to fall. But the guys in the chat jumped in and they've said until the track starts to get a gloss to it, or a gleam and a gliss, you would stay on slick tyres.
Yeah, right. I tell you what, though, there'll be some second doubt in your brain, wouldn't it? You have to really shut your brain off when this does look like this is where the rain's really coming in. You can just sort of sense it in the sky as there goes Stu, loops it around through the old hairpin. So throws away a possibility of a ninth position. And here we go with Mark under pressure from G-Dude. What a name, G-Dude. Oh, and there's
Brad Luck off the back there.
Brad Luck trying to get out, but he's got too much steering lock as well, so he's fighting against that steering lock. He needs to open it up a little bit. He's got it way too much there, but hopefully he'll get out.
Hopefully that is not a blown engine. Oh, and DDF off. This is not what we expected this evening, Neil. We expected these guys to maintain good race pace on this track.
And look at this for the lead of the race, actually, with the 2 minutes remaining. We're going to see 2 more laps, so one would think. And look at this, it's all happening. It's all happening actually up at McLean's corner, Tim. Oh, and there goes DJM. He's off at turn 1.
Oh, and Whale A in the gravel. He is going to find it difficult to make his way back on track. Are we going to see Gunner cruise up into second? Gunner pops up into second place.
Yeah, DJM is still up in there. He can't get any traction in the slicks in that gravel trap, as you predicted, Tim. So this is a game changer for Brett. He just needs to keep it very careful. Word would be out how slippery it is up here at McLean's. And he's been able to get through there, Tim, and now he's just got to make sure he can get through here at Capais. And as you can see, the opposite lock, it's just treacherous conditions out there, Tim. This final lap.
We've got another 2 laps after this, Neil, if they're doing 1 minute 20s, or whether we've still got 2 more laps.
Well, I think this will be the last lap because there's no extra lap, is there?
No. Okay, yep, still coming around.
So he won't get another lap after this. The timer will run out with only a minute to go. So this should be the last lap for Brett. I don't know what Brett's doing. He's slowing right down, which is going to give Gunner an opportunity if Brett has a little bit of a moment. I
think Brett was hoping that was the end.
Yeah, some people, they don't have the HUDs up, so that's probably the reason why that happened as well, as DDF has got back out, but he's right behind Kiz now.
DDF up into 5th, that would... And just looking where Darren is, down in 7th. So that could bring DDF closer up to Darren, but Brett is going to take the lead in the championship.
What an outstanding race. You can never count your chickens before they're hatched around here, can you? Especially with this unpredictable weather. But we better pick up Brett because he is now coming through the last sector of this track as someone is caught out in the gravel trying to get out. Oh, and it's Stu. Stu's still out there. I think he's been out there for over a lap now, Tim. He's probably buried a hole in there, in that sand trap.
Like
down, kids at a beach.
Down to the runner boards, mate, and she is staying there.
That's it. So congratulations to Brett S. And we have a new series champion.
Well, we still have one more race to go. One more race to go.
That's exactly right. So well done to Brett and Gunner. How about that? Into second position. Well done to that man. And Dino, the drive of the day from 15th to 3rd.
Did not qualify at all.
Did not qualify exactly, and we did say that this was the man that maybe we had to watch. We didn't see much of him. We saw a little bits here and there, but what a drive from him. And the bloody 9 in 4th. He'd be happy with that. Kiz comes on through. DDF, well, tell you what, no lack of trying. I tell you what, he put on a show, didn't he, Tim?
Absolutely. And you think the amount of times that he went off and only was 19 seconds off the pace.
Yeah, I know. It's just crazy. Him and Brett had a nice lead. DJM coming through in 7th. So we're just going to wait for, obviously, G-Dude come on through. I think he may be the only other car we're waiting for. So 8 cars, probably the only cars staying on the lead lap of this tough 20-minute race. And you can just see the car just wants to over-rotate with a slick track. And almost we got the bathing of sunshine out again, Tim. There's still a little bit of showers, but one English person will probably use that as one of their days that they would actually sunbake in.
Oh, it's a beautiful summer's day for Melbourne. So there we have it.
Yeah, go through it, Tim, if you want, mate. You take the lead there, buddy.
All right, so Brett S takes out race 1. Clearly also the fastest lap of the race as well. Gunner comes in second, Dino third, the Bloody Nine Kiz, DDF after a couple of offs still managed to pull home in 6th place. DJM after leading the race nearly right up until 3 minutes to go, running out to the sand traps, dropped back to 7th. G-Dude, Mark, Brad Luck, Cuckoo rounding out the 11th. And if my mouse would work here, Travis Moan, Max Power, Stu and Askimir. Again, congratulations to Max, 13th. He's 13th on the leaderboard, holding it all together. That is fantastic. Now, what we're actually going to do, because I just couldn't help myself, but we're actually going to look at what happened on Wednesday nights. The guys are going to reset the lobby. So they're going to reset for another 10-minute qualifying. But Wednesday nights was the Shakedown League. Now, this is the podium photo from the boys who took out Shakedown League. So they're
please don't say that.
Replicating the true traditional leathers that they would have worn from 1979, outfitting their haircuts from 1979. But we can see Brett took out the championship for the Shakedown, and also now sitting on top of the points table with 1 race to go. There was only probably 4 or 5 points in it. It's going to be an absolute cracker for this race. So stick around, stay with us. We'll be coming back to the race very shortly. But Wednesday nights, this is the results from the competition on Wednesday nights. They run the same cars, the same tracks as the Pro Series, but without the pressure. It's a laid back, relaxed. If you want to jump in a race, you can come. Jump on the Discord, Gravel Trap Legends, get involved. Wednesday nights, Auto Mobilista 2. All the series run in a relaxed show up, shakedown round. And
yeah, definitely, and I can't recommend it more to anyone out there to jump on a Wednesday night with Shakedown. It's been so much fun, and we got to remember too that there was a nice tea towel given out to the winner as well, Brett from Chris Payne. It was a nice Monaco tea towel. Which was very nice of Chris to do. It's a very nice community here at Gravel Trap Legends. So not only is the racing fun, so are all the members within the Gravel Trap Legend.
Neil, let's take a look at where we are this evening. We are at Donington National. This is the race is dated the 14th of July 1979. This is round 6 of the BMW M1 Pro Car Trust Me I'm a Pro racing series for Gravel Trap Legends. This is series 1 for 2023. So Donington is 3.14 kilometres long, or 1.95 in old scale. The first car races were held in 1933 after the track was tarmacked, and Donington's first Grand Prix was organised in 1935. The circuit soon established itself as an integrated part of the British motoring racing scene, with occasional international visitors in the shape of the Formula 2s and the Formula 3000s, and rounds of the transatlantic motorcycle match races have also been held here. And there is a colourful history with the surrounds of this track. And the guys have loaded back on circuit, organising for the 10-minute qualifying shootout. So let's go back to the live action, Neil. We'll look at the guys. It is raining currently on track as the guys come out of their pit bays onto track for qualifying.
Yeah, first man out on track is Gunner, who finished second in that previous race. And as you can see, fishtailing up over into Hollywood. It's obviously named for Hollywood for a reason. You can obviously make yourself a star through this section of the circuit. The Craner curves and then into the old hairpin. Not quite a hairpin, it's sort of like a 90-degree corner. And then the Schwartz curve, as you can see, just drifting through there. And this is the tricky part where everyone was going off in race 1 up here at McLean's corner. I think they were getting a little bit wide, and it was very slick out there.
That's a dangerous corner even on a dry track.
Yeah, and here's that blind corner we're saying, that Capais corner. and down the Dunlop straight. And you got a few little bumps there that you can sort of use as a reference for when you got to brake hard into this final S's complex. It's so easy to outbrake yourself. It's really about a good flow through the S's to get a good lap time. There's a lot to be gained through the S's, and also a lot of track limit. They pick you up for turning in too early, taking a little bit too much of the inside curb of that entry into the S's.
An interesting point here, Neil. When the rain starts falling, the track limits actually widen by a tyre or two widths. So you are just give you a little bit of grace.
That's nice of the officials, isn't it, Tim?
But they said it is very underwhelming when the rain stops and the track is still wet. The track restrictions come back into play.
Oh, I tell you what, the drivers would like to go and say something to the track officials up in their nice, comfy control room box, drinking their tea and scones. But, you know, these guys are here for the action, providing the action as well.
Well,
hey, track limits are there. That's what the drivers have to contend with. And it's the same for everyone.
We were threatened to have the 1979 commentators box open for us this evening, Neil, but I did put in an official complaint, and we have got air conditioning, so we're all good.
Yes, I'm very cosy in here at this stage.
Stu did threaten to put us up in the old corrugated box out in the weather.
Look, I think we're guys that have been out into the circuit with our dries of bone or without dries of bone, standing there as wet as a penguin or wet as a duck, watching car races here in Australia. So I'm sure we would have survived if we had to. Not like Esky Man doing a loop right in front of DDF, as he's now had to take avoiding action. And tell you what, he knows how to mow a lawn too, DDF, because we saw that in race 1.
He also had his shovel and pail with him as he went and played in the sand for a while.
Yeah, the man that really played in the sand too, and I think he's still trying to get the sand out of his undies, is this man, Stu. He was there for about 2 or 3 laps, I think.
Well, it was a good beach day for the UK.
It sure was. Nothing dampens their spirits. As long as there's a bit of sunshine, they're happy.
Good.
6 minutes left in this qualifying. It's basically started wet and it hasn't let off yet, Tim. So basically this is wet weather running. There's no advantage to anyone finding a bit of a dry track, other than probably Gunner and DDF. They did get out very early, so maybe they got a little bit of track where it wasn't so wet. As we just said, that Brett says, well, no, it doesn't matter. I can do it right now with 6 minutes remaining. He's put it up the top of the timing screens with a 1:14.575 that lap.
And DJM is going to be hurting here, back in 7th place. And Dino choosing again to start from the back of the grid by remaining in his pit box.
Well, it worked for him last round, Tim, so why change things? You know, from 15th to 3rd, you've got to be happy with that. So, yeah, maybe that's what this man here, DJM, may have to do. But I tell you what, he doesn't want to see this championship slip away. He's been the dominant force all season long. And it comes to the final round, final round here for the M1 Pro cars. Trust me, I'm a pro. And I can't say it as good as Tim, because I tell you what, Tim has nailed it every time he says it. So we'll end obviously with Tim probably signing us off at the end of the night with his classic version of Trust Me, I'm a Pro.
Now, Gunner was sitting on top before DDF got back in there, or that's my timing table having a bit of hissy fit here. But we're still looking at Max Power, Travis Moan, Esky, G-Do, Dino and Kiz all yet to set a time. And
Indeed.
DDF still going faster.
And DJM just put it on pole with a 112.3 as we just clicked over there. So he's saying that fight's not over yet, and he knows it.
So
Now
there's
the question is, where's Brett? He's all the way down in 8th position, Tim, as the bloody 9 is out there in the boondocks. So the fire has been the shot's been fired by DJM. Now what can the response be from this man Brett? And he looks like he's been going that little bit harder. He's got a damaged car. He may have had a quick visit back to the pits and get back out on the circuit, and that's why the damage looks that way.
And that could just be enough to take the edge off. He could just be a little bit cautious now. But Brad Luck sets the fastest lap.
Sensational. Can he do a cold trickle for the final round and run it around the outside and take victory like he did at Daytona back in the day with Days of Thunder?
I see that move has now been officially banned. DJM has just ousted him again. 1.5 seconds.
I was just sorry I cut you off then as my mind was wandering, and I thought, yeah, that was a crazy thing to see it in real life as well. That car that wall rided in the NASCARs to take victory. Was that late last year, wasn't it? One of their final races.
I think it was the final race of the year. Viper on saying the track must be drying out. No, I think DJM is just exerting his authority here.
Mate, he is 1.5 seconds faster than anyone, knocking over the bollards as he goes. And it's one of those things, isn't it? All the drivers behind, like we're looking at just in front of him is that G dude.
But
you just see DJ, this larger than life figure, come flying through, and you just seem to want to let go and let him go. But this is a little bit cheeky from DJM because the G dude was actually on a lap, and normal race etiquette is that you don't sort of overtake in qualifying, especially when cars are on a lap. So DJM, I think he knows that there's a possibility of Brett pulling out a time.
I think Brett, where we've just seen DDF has now pulled out a 110.9.
Yeah, and Brett's climbed the order up into 3rd position, just over half a second behind DJM. Now, if he's smart, if he's got enough fuel, he's going to get another lap after this too, Tim. So if he keeps his cool here and doesn't go off, he'll have enough, and he's up by 3.5 seconds. He's going to have to find a little bit more, but the first sector, he's up by 3.5. He's currently 4.5 behind
and
DJM.
Gunner's mixed into the mix there as well, but DDF has just smashed it.
Geez, it's lighting up like a Christmas tree, our boards here, Tim. I can't keep up.
Gunner's in the pits, so he's finished with a 110.9. We see Stu's in the pits, Max Power and Dino. Brad Luck. DJM has just caught up, and he's gone faster yet again with a 109.4. What's Brett got?
He's in the pits. So will we see Brett with enough fuel to do another lap? So he's up into 2nd. That's where he wants to be, at least alongside DJM. So he'll be hoping that DDF, this man, can't find anything else. This will be DDF's last lap. As is the bloody 9, wherever the bloody 9 is, he is a little bit further back, so he's got one full lap to do yet. We'll keep an eye on DDF and see if he can he's actually down in that 2nd sector. So it doesn't look like he's going to better his time here, DDF. So Brett should be okay, depending if the bloody 9 can do something a little bit better than what he has so far. But we'll get back on Brett as he's coming up through the McLean's corner. We should get a delta as he comes down here the Dunlop straight. Oh, as we got G dude.
That probably opened the eyes up. That would have been for sure.
Oh yeah, might have just cost him a bit of time, but he is up by half a second, Tim. This is going to be close for pole position.
He only needs to find 1/10 through the last corner. Can he do it?
He's out of fuel. Why didn't he complete it?
I think he's out of fuel.
Unless the only other thing is he maybe invalidated the lap through the S's, took a little bit too much on that entry curve. But there you go, Tim. I'll go through the order there with DJM. Pole position with Brett was almost challenging for pole there, as we could see, but I think it may have been a track limit into the S's. with DDF in third position. The Bloody Nine in fourth on the second row. He's got the inside run, so he might follow DJM. So watch the pink car at the start of this race. Gunner stuck on the outside on the third row with Esky Man in the inside in six. On the fourth row, Cuckoo and Kiz. So they're going to be locked horns as well into the first corner. Hopefully not literally, but they're going to be in a good battle. The fifth row, we've got Brad Luck and Stu. As I said, he qualifies 10th, 11th all the time. So there he goes in 10th again. G-Dude in 11th. Mark in 12th. As the rain's just getting heavy as I speak. Travis Moan in 13th. Max Power in 14th. And then Dino, again, keeping his boot stride during qualifying. He is going to start in 15th.
So the guys are just going through their setups now. They would be ensuring they have a setup for slicks and a setup for wet tyres. There's no compulsory pit stop. This is a 20-minute sprint. This is the final race for Series 1 2023 BMW, the M1 Trust Me I'm a Pro for Gravel Trap Legends. If you like what you're watching now, then get involved. Jump on Discord, look up Gravel Trap Legends. If you can't find them, find TVJP on YouTube. I will upload this Twitch stream to YouTube this evening, and tomorrow I'll stick a link to the Discord in the chat for that as we get ready to take off for our final race for Series 1 BMW M1 Trust Me I'm a Pro. DJM again, a great clean run off the line, but DDF on the outside, and I think Brett's going to hold the run up the inside.
Looks that way at the moment, Tim.
They have squeezed. I think that was a game plan between DDF and Brett then to squeeze DJM out, I reckon. And DDF is back, and DJM is now back into third, so Darren won't be happy about that. Oh, Darren takes out the bollards and drops another couple. And DDF has got hold of Brad, and he has cleaned out. And is that Travis again? Or DDF?
Happening
Darren's
here.
around as well.
As Brad Lucky's, I think I just clicked on Brad Lucky, he's just got out the sand himself. But DJM, I tell you what, this is what happens sometimes when the drivers get themselves into a out of position where they normally are. Like the fast guys obviously do well up front, but sometimes they get into that mid pack and they get the rough and tumble as they're still trying to race like they do as well.
Safety car has been called.
Safety car has been called, so that's only for one lap, I believe. So they should be able to regroup here. But DJM,
just a quick look in sixth position. Dino starting from back of the grid.
I don't think you've seen anyone on one lap actually make up. What's he's made up? 10 positions, pretty much.
Yeah, 15th up to 6th.
That's amazing. As DJM takes the opportunity to go to pits to get any damage because he knows, oh no, is this going to be... He can't reverse in pit lane without getting a disqualification. Is that correct?
I believe in these I can... That's why the little short reverses.
Oh, he was lucky. I've seen people get disqualified for reversing in pit lane, so things haven't been played out. So DJM is definitely ruffled at the moment in this chase for this championship. But can DDF finish on a high with a victory for this final run? I tell you what, there's a lot of those cars behind him, behind him, and one of these guys here, I think this man here, Dino. He was so close taking victory at one of the rounds earlier too. I can't remember which place it was, but I think he finished second and we didn't give him much screen time, whichever race that was.
Neil, can you pull up the track map for us, please?
I sure can.
Can we see DDF is, DJM, sorry, is out of the pits, and yes, he can maintain the lead lap as he catches up to the back of the pack now.
Yeah, so a lucky break there, but this is where the action is. I'll tell you what, if you ever go to Donington, I think you want to get your tickets at McLean's Corner. Or if it happens in the sim world, I reckon in real life should be full of action there as well.
But we saw Dino in race 1. He was able to come from the back of the pack through up into 3rd position. Can DJM do the same?
Yeah, well, it's only a matter of time. So it's clicking down now to about 16. We should get this race underway with 16 minutes to go. Just maybe a little bit over 16 to go.
And looks like the weather has lightened up a little bit, so this track should start to dry out. The guys can all comfortably stay on slicks. And for all the guys watching, thank you for joining our stream this evening. If you like what you're watching, then click the follow, jump onto YouTube, TVJP, and subscribe. Find us on Facebook. Catch all the action as we go. And yes, Brad, it is a sprint to the end with 16 minutes and a drying track. DDF has jumped out with Brett, Gunner, T9, Cuckoo, Dino, G-Dude, Mark, Stu, Kiz, and let's take a look. DJM has jumped up to 11th from the start.
Yeah, he's going to find it hard in that mid-pack, so we were just saying that before. So these guys have got their elbows out generally all the time. And, you know, obviously different level of experience for the mid-pack as well, but they're there for their rightful spot to challenge DJM as well. As Stu just sort of gets out of the way as DJM takes a tighter line.
Yeah, and Viper unpicked it. He said we should watch DJM off the back of the pack, because
We're currently doing right at this stage, guys, so we're looking at him just challenging Mark. And it looks like he's going to make easy work into the S's there. So up into 8th position. So he's trying to better from the back of the grid to the 6th position that we've seen Dino do. So he didn't quite get there, but he got to 8th, so that was a good run from DJM. And here's a challenge just at the back here for a challenge on Stu by Mark. And he's got to be careful of Kiz, because Kiz is ready to pounce as well.
Yeah,
keep an eye on Brad Luck as well, because we know that Brad Luck is... There's a lot of sideways action by Cuckoo just there at the foreground of that picture, but we know that Brad Luck had some pace as well.
And these guys are all familiar with racing each other. They have been in battles all throughout this series. Brad Luck, Esky and Kiz have been competing against each other pretty well from race 1. DDF, DJM and Brett have held a comfortable fight at the front of the pack. Gunner and Cuckoo and Dino have been in battles.
Going down the Dunlop straight. It's like they're going to do a formation restart.
And that was a little bit of a gentleman's who's going to go. Push me, shove you.
They actually went too wide through the S's here, right through. And look at Brad Luck trying to see if he can manoeuvre a little opening through this pack. This is wild. Great racing by all these drivers.
And this is
why the back of the field ain't fun.
This is why we show up on Monday nights, Neil.
100%. Oh, little bit of hello love tap from the Cole Trickle car. Remember me. Is DJM now starting to get into the back of the bloody 9. So he's obviously already got through G-Dude quite easily, but the competition is going to start getting a little bit stiff for him. He's not going to get it so easy like he did earlier on his way through the field. DDF at this stage is still having a nice little battle with Brett for the lead of this race. So DDF's done well. He's led from the start of this race.
But DDF was out to a 1.5 margin at one stage, but Brett has managed to reel that back in. Yeah,
he's almost doing a repeat for race 1. I think Brett just let DJM go out on his own for a while and slowly reeled him in. And that was a sensational race. But we may just have a look to see if DJM... Oh, he has got the bloody 9. Sorry about missing that overtake, but he's got a little bit of time before he gets up to Dino. Now we'll go back to this little mid-pack battle. It's still brewing for Mark Kiz and Travis Moan.
The guys have all settled down a little bit. as we start to see the rain begin to fall again.
Oh, not again. A typical 4 seasons in one day here in Donington.
And this is the BMW M1 Pro Series. These are general BMW M1s for 1979. They are true to spec. There is very little electronic control, so no traction control or ABS in these cars. 470 brute horsepower at the rear axle. And that comes in at 9,000 RPM in a 5-speed gearbox. And the curb weight for these cars in race trim is just over 1,000 kilos. So to put that in comparison, it is equivalent to an A9X Tirana with twice the horsepower.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling to tell you the truth. I know we hear it on each of these broadcasts, but for the new viewers that are actually watching, it's worthwhile hearing that. That is something you just can't believe, that the amount of horsepower they put into these cars.
And the ability to be able to control that horsepower. I think we've got a 375 wide tyre on the rear of these cars.
Yeah, right there. They are fairly massive. You can see there's Stu's having a nice battle with Esky, man. He's sort of just losing touch of Brad Luck at this stage. Brad's in the top 10, running in 9th, as Stu's starting to get some time. He's half a second up roughly to his best time.
And it looks like Dino's moved up onto the back of Cuckoo. And DJM a couple of seconds behind.
Yeah, he's slowly reeling these guys in, but as you can see, you picked it up there. Dino has caught up to Cuckoo, so Cuckoo's got the pace.
And
but DJM was at 108 that last time. He was the fastest man on the circuit as well, DJM, a previous lap.
But he's got to find his way past Dino, Cuckoo, Gunner before he can catch up to Brett and DDF at the front of the pack.
That's right, as Max Powers finding himself in an awkward position there, but nothing he can do. But he's done really well to really get up on that curb, let these guys through. Nothing worse being caught up in an apex with the faster cars coming through. So credit to Max. As the flames billowing out. Oh, look at this big move as Dino has had a moment into the S's, so that's put DJM up into an easy 5th position. Tell you what, DJM, can he get any all this luck going his way? He's had to work hard, but he's 5 seconds off the lead, Tim. This is an amazing drive by DJM.
Now, under safety car, he did take the pit stop and managed to catch back up to the back of this grid, and that was 16. That was 8 minutes ago.
Yes, so, it was too. That's right, because we said the race start was going to be with about 16 minutes remaining. So,
as he makes the move, that was more Cuckoo politely stepping aside there.
I think Cuckoo's he was sliding a bit through in that valley there, Tim, and I think he was struggling to try. I don't think he's got confidence. As we know, as soon as you loop these cars, you're losing in a ton of time, so you want to try and keep it pointing in the right direction. But I tell you what, the guys up front are doing 1 minute 12s, and Gunner and DJM are both in the 11s. They're the fastest cars, so Gunner is actually catching the leader. So we're going to have a 3-way battle, and before we know it, if he can't get through, there's going to be a 4-way battle, because we know that DJM is going to catch these leaders before the end of the race.
Well, we have about 6 laps to go. So he needs to gain a second a lap. And at the moment, it's only half a second.
Why don't we get on board here and just see how treacherous it is with the rain and the spray. Helmet cam. Look at the slide that's happening down in the old hairpin. And Gunner
just follows Brett.
Has been able to make that move up into second. And DJM. So here we go. The battle for the championship is well and truly alive. And you were on board with Gunner as we saw Brett hanging out wide, and he's struggling.
Brett's been out into the gravel, and it's just made those tyres that little bit extra loss of grip.
That's exactly right, but Brett needs to hold on to the back of DJM, because if they finish in these positions, I don't know how the points go from once you go down from third to fourth, what the difference is, but it wouldn't be as great as 1 to 2. So there's a possibility that Brett could still hold on to the championship, but actually DJM dropped a ton in the first that race, so Brett's probably still in a good position to take out this championship.
He can't afford to lose any more positions. He needs to finish in the top 4.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there, especially if Darren wins this. I think that's Darren's mission. He needs to win it. And Brett, as you said, needs to finish in this 4th position. So Cuckoo could be his worst enemy in the Blues Brothers police car. So,
Just looking at the 2 front runners now into the mid 114s. And DJM a 112.
Yeah, he's catching them at a rate of knots, isn't he? Like Gunner was actually fast, but he's sort of dropped in that previous lap. That rain did get a little bit heavy while we were getting all excited about what was happening with Brett. So looks like it's eased off again. So it's probably a driver's nightmare out there at the moment with the conditions.
There aren't too many other battles going on at the moment, so we'll stay with this one for a bit. But we'll just keep track. Mark and Esky are also only less than a second apart, but everyone else has found a little bit of open space now on the track.
Yeah, I think Mark and Esky have been like that from the drop of the flag, basically. They've having a sensational little battle. And I think that's going to rage on all the way to the end, to tell you the truth. But we'll get up to the front, because I think that we're going to see a lot of action here very shortly. So we'll keep an eye on Gunner, who's right in the middle of DDF and DJM, so
and the rain,
he's going to be feeling a little bit vulnerable here at the moment, with Max also coming into a little bit of a situation with the faster cars coming through. You can see how wet it is actually offline up the top here. That's why everyone was going off, I think, at McLean's. You see it more on the entry screenshot before they move cameras.
A little bit drier across the top through Capice and out onto the straight. So the rain has ceased now. We're looking at it looks like clearing up in the sky. So we expect a dry finish to this race. So it is on for a sprint to the checkered flag now.
That's what we've all come here to see, and we'll just see if Gunner can hold off DJM. He's got the ability to do that. We've seen he's got the pace.
And in these wet conditions, if Gunner just stays to the racing line, it is going to make it difficult for Darren to find his way past here. And that could slow them up enough to bring Brett back into this equation if Gunner starts to drive defensively.
Yeah, good point. And I just think if Darren has an opportunity to get Gunner, he will go for it. He'll rub panels if he has to, I think, because, not in a bad way. But you can see that wetness on the offline there on that camera angle. This one you can sort of lose it, but definitely wet offline. So there's obviously going to be no challenging through that section of the circuit at McLean's. I think Darren's been very strong coming into the S's, but I think Gunner can hold his own through that little section of the circuit at the same time.
And Viper's jumped into chat and reminded us it is Copice.
Copice. There you go.
Copice.
Thank you so much. I'm failed English, and but anyway, it's always the English language can be tricky sometimes,
especially with a Cornish accent. Well, we see someone off in the background there.
Yes, I'll just let him go. I don't know, actually, to tell you the truth, Tim. It is a darker car. It's
I'm thinking Travis, maybe.
Yeah, it could be Travis, but we've got this battle going on here with 2.5 minutes remaining. There's probably only 2 laps left of this race. I'd say there's definitely only 2 laps. So it's going to be this lap, and then there's Brad Luck as well. Caution. There's a yellow flag out there. And I guess that's when, if they have the yellow full course yellows enabled in game, that's probably the trigger point when they'll have a full course yellow. But these are a manual yellow, and they don't in Gravel Trap Legends, the last 5 minutes there's no more safety cars.
So we are coming through. There will be one further lap after this, Neil.
That's it. So that's it. So I got this one. This is the penultimate lap. So can DJM go out on a high, or will we see Gunner take victory? I don't think he's actually had victory in the M1 Pro cars in this series, because it's been dominated by both DJM and Brett.
Well, DDF has had 2 issues in his pit stops in the last 2 races, which has cost him the race victory.
Yeah, so it'd be outstanding. It'll actually be fitting for DDF to take this. Oh, is it a moment from Gunner? Is this DJM's opportunity?
Oh, I think he's going to get him down the straight. Coming through Coppice. And Gunner manages to hold on.
Oh, DJM, all sideways. I saw him in the back of the screen. The cameraman just getting him through there.
And we are now definitely on to our final lap. Thank you, Viper. We will completely ignore that comment in case of commentator's curse. Fingers crossed that the boys actually pull it off. But we're looking at DDF currently having a 1 second lead and thinking this is fairly in the bag for him if he can keep it straight on this final lap. Gunner is holding off DJM, but Brett, sitting in 4th position, is currently looking like our point champion for Series 1.
Yeah, he's having a little lonely race there in 4th, probably enjoying the little moment to himself, lapping up the championship victory as Gunner is all defensive up into what did we say?
Coppice.
Coppice. And here we go. DDF, the final corner into the S's. Can he pull it up? Oh, you wouldn't want any more. Oh, there's been a touch.
A little bit of love tap.
There's been a little tap from
Gunner across the lines.
Darren.
And DDF can thank Gunner for that. That was certainly brave drive from Gunner to hold off DJM. Brett coming home in 4th. That will give Brett the championship in the final race after 6 rounds and 8 races.
Yeah, it has been sensational job from Brad. He never let his ball down, did he?
Absolutely outstanding. And not just at the front, we have seen some outstanding racing from 1st position through to even Max Power back home in 14th. Has had some fantastic battles this series. We hope you guys have enjoyed watching it as much as we have enjoyed bringing this broadcast to you. Now, we'll let these guys cruise around and get to their pits before we start dragging anyone into the chat. But guys, if you have enjoyed what you've been watching tonight, get involved, get onto Discord, Gravel Trap Legends. Every Monday night is the Pro Series races, although the next 2 nights we have special events. So next Monday night will be the historic Formula cars around Monza.
We'll just quickly go through before they go through. We got DDF taking his victory that he well and truly deserved. It was a long time coming, but well done. He finally got everything right. Gunner holding off that last challenge. DJM, there was panels going everywhere into the S's, and he held on for 2nd position on the podium there, with DJM getting his final spot on the podium. But here is the series champion, Brett S, in 4th position. He won't be on the podium, but he'll be on after all the celebrations to take the championship trophy here for Gravel Trap Legends. Dino in 5th, another good run from last on the grid all the way to 5th. Well done, Dino. The Bloody 9, that is actually a great finish for him in 6th position. Well done. Upside down 9, turn it into a 6. Well done, buddy. Kiz in 7th, Cuckoo in 8th, Mark in 9th, G-Dude in 10th. Well done to him. And Esky Man, what a battle he had with Mark as well, but dropped it into 11th with Stu in 12th. Brad Luck found the sand again. in 13th, Max Power in 14th, and Travis Moan we saw retired up the top of the hill in the barriers. So there you go, Tim, the final race, and it's going to be a shame that we're not going to see these M1 Pro cars for a while.
Now, it has been absolutely entertaining to the max. Let me just see if I can grab DDF quickly, because he was the winner for tonight's penultimate round. Now, I believe DDF finished second in race one, or no, third in race one behind.
Yeah, Gunner, I think we had
DDF had a bit of a failure, yes.
Up in third, didn't we?
So we might actually go straight to Brett. Let me see. Dino's gone live. Let me see, make sure Brett's not involved in anything at the moment. Alright, dragging Brett into the chat. And good evening, Brett.
He might be still pushed to talk.
Good evening, Brett. Can you hear us? Looks like we have a technical issue at the moment with our pit lane chat. We might stick Brett back into the chat so that he can get that organised.
Into the mic.
It must be. The weather was absolutely atrocious this evening. Showers, rain, dry. It was full on the whole race. Actually, while we're doing that, we might just see whether we can steal Max Power. Let's see if we can get Max in here.
We need Max here. I think he's a crowd favourite. Come on, Max. Come on in. Let's go.
Good afternoon, Max. Can you hear us?
Hey, gentlemen. Thanks for having me.
No worries, mate. We've got to say congratulations, mate. You held up the back of the pack. You managed to finish in 13th place on the leaderboard after 6 races. But the biggest shout out for you is 6th place in Shakedown on Wednesday night. Absolutely outstanding, mate. You must be proud.
I'm just thrilled to be involved. But thanks, fellas. It was really great fun. Really enjoyed myself, and I feel privileged to be racing with some of these guys. They're sensational, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Definitely are, Max. And I tell you what, you got a close view of them too, mate. You're caught on apexes as they're coming around the outside of you, mate, and you held your own, and you didn't ruffle that. You didn't interfere with their race, mate. And it was absolutely brilliant seeing that Scooby Snacks car out on the grid, mate. It's as I said at the opening of the broadcast, it's my favourite car, my favourite driver, Max Power. Well done, buddy.
Thank you, matey. I really appreciate that. When I saw the liveries there, I've got to thank our sponsors for that. But yeah, it was awesome. I thought that's just got to be me. Because, yeah, I've got Scooby right here with me. He'd like to say hello. Oh, everyone. Oh,
That's a classic. So we did tell you about the community here at Gravel Trap Legends, guys, and that's exactly the reason why we love it. We turn up every Monday and Wednesday for characters like Max, and he's not the only one. There's plenty right through the membership here at Gravel Trap Legends. And, mate, we adore you, Max, and well done, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Oh, it's been so much fun. I can't wait till next season. That's going to be lots of fun.
Absolutely, Max. Thanks, mate. We'll put you back to the chat and we'll see whether we can get the points champion, although it looks like Dino could be broadcasting at the moment. They could be organising something for the championship, so we're unsure whether we'll be able to draw Brett into the chat now, Neil, but...
Yeah, that's all right. We might wrap things up. I think everyone would know that Brett will be absolutely ecstatic. We've heard him for the last few weeks with his comeback drives to really liven this championship up. So, yeah, he would be absolutely over the moon, like Travis Moan. And because you've known that I've called Travis Moon plenty of times. So, well done to Brett. And also, as we said, DDF would love to have also... enjoy having a chat about his victory here for the final race as well.
Yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic. We'd like to thank you for joining us on these streams. It's been an absolute pleasure bringing you to you. We will continue streaming on Monday nights with Gravel Trap Legends. So if you like what you see, don't forget, get onto Discord, Gravel Trap Legends, get yourself involved. Automobilista 2 is the place to be.